want to thank you all for sharing this time with me. We are officially beginning Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls, Episode 3, our mid-season finale, But If You Tame Me. Now, with several threads and trains of thoughts running through the coterie, through the associates of Gary, we find ourselves once more at Friday. Silk's gathering is the very next day, with Ben, Mamela, and Marcus all dying for the day at the farmer's market. Joshua crawling into his lightless cubicle, his safe room, free from all, amidst his tools of saving and otherwise transmogrifying life to a better state, while Marcus whiles away yet again another evening in the warm embrace of Twinette. We open with everyone making their round rolls and seeing what state they open for the evening, what state they arise in, whether their beasts are seeking release or if they have gained another night of success, another night of relative peace. And we say relative because the beast, no matter how quiet it may seem, is always seeking escape. It is always seeking to unman the conscience and find a full and total opportunity to satiate itself with the exsanguination of life. And unfortunately, as is always the case, the beast will find a way, much like the line uttered by Jeff Goldblum. Life finds a way, and the beast itself is the last vestiges of uncontrollable will to continue existing. And so we're going to forward a few moments, a few hours into the evening with the sun cresting just below the horizon line and the desolation that is Gary finding its footing in the dark. Gathered as they are due to the pressing issues and information, the lack of contact for the last few days for some, beast aside, we find our associates gathered around the meeting open area of the farmer's market. There is the very real facet of Silk's invitation. There's the very real facets of the conversations with Cone. There is the very real facets of Benny having been returned to her master. And most pressingly, the fact that the Vanguard have taken more steps to consolidate their power, become the power in and of itself. So in alphabetical order, what are we discussing?
Okay, so I'm assuming everybody's there?
Yes.
Okay, so Ben would...
Nope, everyone is there.
Oh. So Ben would look to everybody and... Okay, it's occurred to me that I need to sort out something with you all. I need to know, at the very base of things, what it is you want from your unlife. I've already asked Marcus what they want. I already know what I want, but to consolidate our power and maybe even have a chance at holding off a war, I need to know what I'm working with. So I need for each of you to give me a start off point. What is it? To hell with Silk or Evelyn or any of them. What is it you want out of your unlife? And then we'll come back to that and I'll tell you my plan for how we can maybe make this work.
My plan is to be able to, who knows when about dis myself from these politics. Kind of working out the details at the moment.
So basically live and let live is what I'm getting from you. You just kind of want to be left alone to do your own thing and help people. Great.
Yeah.
I'm good with just making sure that Gary's safe. And I'll do whatever I got to keep Gary safe and not part of the camp and not recognizing an Anarch City, just a free city.
Okay, so that one's a little big. How would we manage to keep it neither one nor the other when they both want it and they both want to push the other out?
Easy, we take it.
We would
take it, and I'll keep a barony.
Yeah, no. That's cute, but
that might require war first.
Yeah, I don't think so. We can work on it. We'll workshop it. Okay, Marcus, if you want to tell everybody what you want.
Well, you've seen what I want. I have it, but now everybody's trying to take it from me. I want to be the builder. I want to be the guy that people come to have things made for them. And unfortunately, the Camarilla doesn't allow for that. I mean, they want their thumb in every pie, and they've proven they're willing to burn the world to get there. So if I don't agree to work for them exclusively under their rules, they're going to burn me out. So I can't support that. I just lack faith in what the Anarchs are up to. They don't seem to have their shit together right now. And so what I've thought is finding a way to return to the balance we had 3 months ago. Finding a new juggler and a new Modius and letting them play their little games while the rest of us get to live our lives.
And I want to become Baron of Gary. Make the Anarchs more formidable against the Camarilla.
I think that sort of contradicts Mamilla's plan. Unless you be dual bolts.
Well, if there's also if there's an actual leader to at least one of the groups, one of the sects, then there can possibly be balance later on. And also, me and Mel are allies, are we not? Therefore,
of course,
I would like to make Gary free, but the Anarchs are like, oof, sorry.
And as you listen, Ben, there's one glaring question which hasn't been answered. What is it that Ben actually wants?
Ben is kind of stuck on what Mason just said and just kind of eyebrow raised. You're being serious.
100%.
Sweetheart.
The Anarchs are all...
Listen to me. The whole thing that happened with Silk and you not being able to get away from her without telling her everything and her getting your phone, do you really think you're going to be able to run Gary?
Speaking of Silk, let's kind of leave her to the side for right now.
Okay, yes, we can circle back to that, but the point I was making is the point I made. Now, what I want is to live in peace like the rest of you, to continue to help the people around me and have this neighborhood and other neighborhoods be safe, to have Gary be safe. But the way that I see that happening is for us to solidify our power as a group. I'm going to point out what I see with each of you. Me, myself, I have the prestige, I have the age, I have the ability to reach both groups because of who I am and my reputation. Joshua, you help both humans and animals. You sometimes provide blood. That is a valuable service, and you should be free to do so, no matter who your clients might be. Amela, you're the body, you're the the muscles. You're the tactician. If we can point you at something, I think you would be the best to tackle that. We got Marcus doing the tech, the building. He knows almost every system inside and outside and can do so much if we can get him the time to do so unmolested by the anarchs or the cam. And Mason is the money, the face. We can't do a lot of what we need to do without him either. So between all of us, we have power. If we can prove to both sides, we're drawing a line in the sand. We're not going to take your bullshit. You can't come in here and push us around because this is what we offer. And if you don't like working with the other side, too fucking bad. Because this is who we are. That's what I want.
So what you're basically saying is we form our own little sect in Gary, and they have to just deal with it, both sides.
Yeah, because if they don't like it, too fucking bad.
I actually quite like that.
I mean, it's not a barony, but it could be negotiated into a domain.
Mm-hmm. All I truly want is just power to get rid of my sire, or at least not.
Or an Elysium. We could make this place an Elysium so that both sides would feel safe coming here if they want to, with no violence offered between them and no violence offered to those who call this home, specifically Marcus, because I know they've tried to drag you out of here, they've tried to beat you up, they've tried to kidnap you. It's not going well. We need a place where we can make our stand from. So if we make this an Elysium or, like you said, a domain, then we rule this. We get to decide.
I don't mind offering my haven up to Coterie as a safe spot in a domain. I mean, we've had talks with some of the leaders of the different groups, and, well, the leaders we can find. I don't know whether they go for an Elysium, but they would probably be able to see this as a recognized domain.
No, we can make it an Elysium. Mainly because if any violence take off, then they have to deal with it.
Well,
not enough of them will be willing to deal with it. That's the same thing with the laws of Elysium. If you go into any Elysium and you do any violence, then whatever happens, happens. And whatever happens makes everyone else not want to break the rules of Elysium. So that's simple. We can do that easily.
Well, Elysium is, I mean, I had this beaten
It's just recognized. It's just recognized. All of the rules that you've learned, you can throw them in the trash. It's recognized that if you go into Chicago and you go into the Succubus Club and start spraying with an AK-47, all the weight of the prince will be on you.
Yeah, but
if you break.
The difference between the domain and the Elysium is the Elysium is recognized broadly. The Elysium is recognized by barons, by princes, people from Dalton come over. They know that an Elysium is an Elysium. The domain is a home, and the people who live in that domain are responsible for the protection and the safety of the guests. In Elysium, the entire city is responsible. Convincing Evelyn and her people and Sharp and his people to make this an Elysium would be a long pull. Getting them to recognize it as a domain would be less politically explosive.
It's already considered a domain, though, isn't it? It's yours.
Well, right now it's just a haven.
It's your domain.
Yeah, it's my domain. But what we're talking about is making it a Coterie domain. It would extend beyond just the building, but the area around it, so that the building is always open. So like the street, parts of the river, a domain is pretty sizable. But we would be responsible. for the safety and security of guests and members. Getting them to recognize they all have a purpose in protecting it would require some serious political bribery that I don't know we want to get involved with, because there's a lot of quid pro quo that would have to happen. We would have to recognize what they say is true as well. The Sharks people might insist that if we want to be in Elysium, we have to recognize their praxis. Or Evelyn might suggest that to be recognized in Elysium, we have to maintain an anarch presence. They can ask for that for an Elysium. For a domain, they just have to say, okay, we won't burn your house down.
Well, that being a good point, because all of our businesses are within this small area. My shop, the farmer's market, your dojo, Josh's clinic, all of them are all in this area. So if we claim this as our domain, each of our businesses, each of our havens and our places of safety would become a pillar for the domain in this area. And I do think we could protect our area if we were given one. I've lived this long without any major problem, and I've been an independent most of my time. Nobody bothers me. Why do you think that is?
Because you stop fixing their cars. Or when you fix their cars, you'll start adding parts that don't belong.
And that's how we all make this into our domain. You want something built, you respect the domain. You want your car fixed, you respect our domain. You want to have your body work done by the doc, you respect our domain. If you don't, services stop. And then you have to find someone else who will take care of you.
And I think that might be our leverage in the fact that we offer things that are fairly unique. Fight training, mechanical, custom builds, and medical. And Mason, he's gotten me to pay for his signature on a level that eBay could not compensate for. And I'm a professional.
What is it that you do, Mason?
He sold me a set of his books signed. I may have overpaid.
I write.
Oh, he writes.
I have lots and lots of money.
Well, I got the money part, but I never knew what you did. So now I know.
I write books. Empire books.
I could tell you some stuff. You probably get killed if I told you some actual stuff. But I could tell you some stuff.
What?
Would everyone gathered be so kind as to roll wits plus awareness? And Marcus, with your natural hyperactivity, would you get a bonus of 1 because your cameras are in fact have been modified and updated and keeping a slightly larger cone of watch.
Or Sess's message critical.
By the way, Mason takes out a knife and tosses it. Not like it's sheathed, but like tosses it towards Mel.
Why?
Because he bought the knife. Remember that scene?
No. I remember the scene. I'm just asking, why would you toss it? There's a chance it's gonna land.
He catches a point first.
Why is this? It's not choking. He just hands it to him.
All right, so
That was golden.
as Mason hands the knife to him, no fastball specials with finely edged daggers. Joshua, you had been on edge because of your situation with finding sustenance and building networks so that it's a little more reliable. Marcus, you naturally are hyper aware, and while the conversation is engaging, entertaining, and very informative, your eyes flit to the screens as headlights flash across several of your camera screens, and you hear the engine as it eases down the street, specifically towards your home. Joshua, your awareness triggers, and there is a car which is in close proximity, which none of the neighbors actually are. And the last time a car was in close proximity, you all were shot.
Unless it's that new group of vamps that's in Gary.
It very much is not the new vamps. It very much is a very cherry red Thunderbird, circa 2010, the hard top convertible that you've seen on several occasions, Mason, over the last few days.
And I've gathered that it's part of what sect, if I have gathered that?
Sect has 2 letters too many. If you replace both the C and the T with an X, you'd have an idea as to who that might be.
Don?
As Joshua hisses and moves towards the door, and Marcus is up at the camera screen, what is everyone doing as they hear finally the roaring purr of a well-tuned engine?
I put my knife away.
I don't go near the door. For knowledge that of last time I went near a door.
Immediately am going to where I keep the gun, pop the lid off the pipe, and tuck it in my waistband.
Oh,
Out of
okay.
character. How I would be under my compulsion, right?
Mason goes, I know that car.
Talk to us. What's going on?
It's a friend right now. Her name's I hope I pronounce it correctly. Toynette.
Toinette, yes.
Toynette. It's
As far as Joshua, your compulsion for ownership, yeah, that's another matter entirely. We'll work that out over the course of the evening. But for right now, your hairs are standing on end, and it is very difficult to not snarl at the intrusion of your safety, the safety of your associates.
I guess then Josh will start working on a weapon. He's itching for a fight.
And as the sound of car doors opening outside and being well within the camera range, you see that it is Toinette and another individual, which unfortunately means you have not had the pleasure of meeting.
yay.
Mason, we've had talks about this.
Wait, sorry, say that again.
We've had talks about this.
Talks about what?
You don't bring your girls over here. Like, that's part of your life that needs to be.
Did you see me bring her over here? That is clearly her car, not mine. Just because it's red doesn't mean it's automatically mine.
We got insurgents outside. They want us dead. My beast tells me. They want us dead.
Joshua, 2 deep breaths. Let me and Mason go say hi, and you 3 can stay here as a backup, as a reserve.
Okay. Just yell if you need me.
And the knocking upon the door commences. Okay.
Mason, introduce me to your friend.
Right. Sorry, I lost audio for like 5 seconds.
So there's knocking upon the door, and Toinette and her guest, if you guys look there in open play, you'll see what her guest seems to look like, what his appearance is, and they knock upon the door. Toinette in her very finest of lightweight summer dresses, there is a clear-cut indication that she is very much being a girly girl at this moment. None of the tough girl stick that she was using to initially woo and get to know Mason.
Huh. Okay. So I guess me and Marcus walk up to
There
the
is
door.
something about it that triggers a small amount of PTSD. Even you know approximately how strong Toinette, several more than vigor is wrong.
Well, I mean, Mason's no shy on strength either, but still. Anyways.
So with your gaggle of newly arrived have the Socius Twinette jacket. Hi! I was hoping that... Well, actually, I'm not hoping at all. But my friend, hoping to talk to you guys. Can we come in?
It's not my place, it's your place, Mark. Oh, there's an M and M and M.
Yeah. The girly girl and the chunk of old bricks takes a moment and says, "Hi, I'm Marcus Farmer. This is my home, and if you have important things to talk to guests," and I stress the word guests very heavily.
And we would not violate your hospitality.
So I'm not scared at all. Enjoy the space. Unfortunately, I can't offer much in the way of sustenance. It's been a rough week.
That is not needed, but thank you very much for the offer.
I turn around and I I look at everybody, make sure nobody's about to explode into violent action, and say, "Everyone, this is Mason's friend Toinette, and this is Toinette's friend Eric. They're guests."
Hello, everyone. I'm glad that you are all here. I have heard very much about you. And he points with his head, a quick nod towards Ben. I have heard far too much about you, Mr. McGinnis. And Farmer, the legend of your skill has even reached my ear. As for Dr. Bishop, not much is heard, which is a very good thing considering his skills and our newest associate from New Orleans. It has taken many, many weeks for me to find any information pertaining to you. And what I have found has led me to believe that you all may be exactly whom we might need to work. I am Eric Luciano. This is my friend Toinette Sordi. We represent a small, unaligned group of kindred. The reason why we are unaligned is that we have been maligned for months, years, centuries even. I will not bore you with the various graphic, gruesome details. I will merely say that in light of recent attacks against our people, we are looking for places near enough to the crown jewel of the tower and far enough away that we might have opportunities to live unmolested if we choose.
Brother, you have found the right group of vampires to talk to tonight.
Excellent. I don't want to seem like the Mormons who visit the neighborhoods periodically. I'm not selling anything. I'm offering assistance for assistance, a trade of services. Much like McGinnis and Toinette have traded favors with one another.
The less you hear that, the better.
Well, I don't trust anyone on first meeting exactly.
Of course not, but we are not first meeting. Toinette and Mason have spent many days together, getting to know their levels of honesty with one another. I assume that you all have similar levels of honesty amongst yourselves. And I, being part of the group to which Toinette has some allegiance, have an open honesty with Toinette. We don't believe in lies. Secrets maybe, but no lies. Never lies.
So you're saying that you're currently not with either of the major sects fighting for the city?
Yes, that is correct. We are not part of either the town or the rabble, nor the Sword of Cain. We are independent, and we have no allegiance to either.
So you're like us.
Marcus,
or less.
Marcus is looking to Ben for what her reaction to all this is.
She is standing bodily in front of Joshua just in case, but her arms are crossed very lightly and there's a bit of a smirk on her face because Eric, kind of gave her the head nod and it's like they're recognizing each other. And she's probably seen him in passing, but doesn't completely connect the name just yet. So she's calm. She's pretty, chill right now.
Guy has a scowl on his face. He does not trust these people in for a second. Extremely paranoid.
I can understand why such a direct course of action may not trigger the most happiest of feelings. But as time has drawn very, very near for us, we have received quite a few losses recently. The time for direct communication is upon us. While you may have the opportunity of days, weeks, months longer, it has grown desperate for us where we were, and we are deciding to make a home of this city.
So it was a combination of bad timing and bad luck that led you to Gary at this exact moment?
Yes. While Antoinette and Jessica have lived here for many years, the rest of us not so much. And that we would like to change.
Speaking of Jessica, I look at Marcus. I told you about Jessica the other day. Remember?
I remember.
The mouse? And then I look at Joshua turning around. Remember the mouse that was here? You said it was acting weird?
Yes. I also remember just a few days ago, patient actually told me about a person giving her little pet raccoon treats, and it turns out those were filled with bits of vitae.
Oh, that sounds like Jessica. I followed her back to the trailer park and accidentally almost killed her. She's fine now, though. She's great. But I told her if she ever needed any help, she can pop by, because I've never seen anybody the slashing damage I did and almost die. So she probably needs help.
I'm sorry that you all entered into physical combat, but I'm glad that everyone is alive. These mistakes happen.
So Jessica is one of your group's locals.
Yes.
Well, I can say that among us, we have a fair amount of information and ability within the city.
Yes.
Basically, we have a lot to offer. But other than keeping Mason off the streets and doing stupid shit,
Oh my god.
What your group offers us.
Yes, direct is always best. We have the opportunity to grant you bodies. There are more of us than I care to name now, but I can tell you that we number clearly more than you. Roughly 5 to 10 times more than you.
Okay, Mason's eyes, or Marcus's eyes, kind of bug out of his head a wee bit. 4 or 5 times as many as us?
4 or 5 times easily, maybe 10 times.
Sweet Mother McCready.
These aren't kidnapped victims you hit in the head and embraced like what my clan used to do.
Dr. Bishop, normally I'm not so forward, but I will tell you this. I was born as I am in 1913. I came to America seeking opportunity for my family. I stepped off the boat at Liberty Island, and I was beset by a monster who saw my size, my potential strength. He stole me from the waiting pens because once landing, we had to wait till the next morning to be admitted. He stole me and 25 others. And over the next month, he tortured us. He drained us of our blood, and he assaulted us mentally every night. Of my 25 fellow kidnappees, only myself and 9 others survived. When we proved to not be exactly as he wished, he starved us until we were near ravening and released us into the city, pointed at his enemy. After the suffering,
Yeah, can I talk to you for a second?
After the suffering, I survived, and instead of attacking his enemy, I fled into the night. I settled in Chicago 10 years later and have been in the area ever since. I'm a brick maker by trade, though there's not many bricks made at night.
Like a textbook, shovelhead to me. So I drove through that. My breath wasn't so violent as yours, most definitely.
I only share this with you so that you are aware we do not believe in purposefully harming others. If there's no choice but violence, then we will embrace it as necessary.
See, that's what we're trying to avoid. That's what we want to do. We don't want this war here. We don't want to have to be pushed to one side or the other. We want our independence. We want our lives the way they are, to be left alone to live or unlive as we choose. And I think we can do that if we just learn how to organize properly. And it sounds like you are somebody that knows how to do that because you've organized your people. So you have bodies, we have skills. We should put them together and try our best to hold off both sides, or at least make them see we will not bow to either side.
Mella's eyes is really, it's like you see a lot of tension around his eyes.
I'm sorry I'm sorry that my history, the tale of how I arrived here is so much pain for you, my friend. If there was something I could do to otherwise assist with your pain, I would.
Oh no, totally understand.
He's just cranky. Don't pay him any mind. He hasn't eaten tonight.
So what you're saying?
Giving him a very pointed, behave your fucking self look.
So what you're saying is you have a lot of people in or coming towards Gary right now, and you are looking for locals of some power base to shelter you while you settle.
Yes.
And you're willing to use what skills you have in the furtherance of that settlement.
That is it exactly. I'm not sure how much you know of Chicago, but recently, after everything has settled, they have a Gestapo, a force of hounds at the sheriff's beck and call. They slaughtered nearly half our numbers in the course of an evening. It is no longer safe for us. It was never safe for us because their scourge hunted us. She sought us out and attempted to ensure that the terror that she unleashed on us would reverberate through history. The lieutenant of our organization, she found one night 4 months ago. According to all the information we can find, he is still screaming to this night.
What did your group do, or what is your group that the prince and the sheriff would spend so much time on you?
We are English to Toinette. They're fine. If Mason doesn't mind, I'm sure the rest of them won't either. Of course, I don't know if any of them are your type, but for me, I'm sure that we are okay. If you say so, Toinette, I don't... We are signs of the apocalypse. We are the thin blood. We are the children of the dusk.
At this point, Marcus looks at Ben. Like you said, what
Told you.
crazy mouse lady said. Dustborn.
Yes.
The half vampires.
No, we are full vampire. Though the blood is thinner with us. The blood...
Yeah. I understand you're kindred and everything, but in my head, I have to keep things straight or I get very confused.
I've always wanted to study one of you.
What? Keep the instrument.
Mella visibly relaxes.
So what you're telling me is Dustborn are somehow a portent?
No, but the rumors, the religious zealots of our kind pursue us as if we are the signs of the coming apocalypse, the end of days. This is nowhere near true.
Okay.
If it were, then those who were clanless would have ushered in the end of days centuries ago.
When he says the word clanless, Marcus twitches visibly. Like, it's not subtle.
You are not a religious zealot, are you, my friend?
Well, in this area, I am, I guess what the kindred would call faithless. The kind call it atheistic. I was never brought up in religion, and I don't really understand religious people's motivations. I'm an atheist, but I am of the broken blooded. The clan that turned me, their blood didn't take in me.
Then you know our pain. You know how the false religious zealots will persecute you simply because of who you are, because of where your blood comes from, because of how the gifts or curses of Cain present themselves with you. Difference is not allowed by them. Being different is a reason to be hunted into the night, to be killed, to be slaughtered, or worse. Many of my brethren were tortured and experimented on for decades.
I have to admit that I did not suffer the way you're describing, but my clan disavowed me.
So emotional.
They kept me hidden, and then eventually just dumped me where you find me. And
Well,
then
emotionally, they took you as what semblance of family you might have.
exactly, they just kind of disavowed my existence and hoped nobody noticed that I was still alive.
The unending death of isolation. But you have landed well. You have friends. You have a coterie. You have, if you are as honorable as you seem, you have us.
Well, we were talking of such things before Twinette brought you here, in the fact that we're seeking to return Gary to what it was, a place where kindred could be themselves, mostly unmolested. I mean, yes, we had a baron and a prince, but the baron was juggler and the prince was busy, so the us kindred could be on our own. And since my clan didn't pay attention, I wasn't bothered. And since Ben was smart and held sway, she wasn't bothered. And since my friend, the tall one over there, didn't draw lines about who he helped, he was left alone.
Yes, we know. He has helped many of us through the course of just the most recent week, though, if I may, and forgive me if I seem forward, do not have to extort us. We will gladly pay whatever you need.
Well, if you're true to what you're thinking and what you want, unless somebody throws something at the back of my head, which, 50% of the time they do, we could come to some kind of accord between us.
Excellent. I will take this as a yes. We will act as if this is a yes. We will begin making ourselves known to you all, so that you recognize whom we are, as no one else does. No, none others respect us, nor recognize us, nor even see us more times than not. We are the invisible kindred.
If you're going to send people randomly to one of our businesses,
We have
well,
not been treated ill by either of you. Save you, my New Orleans friend. There's no reason to throw so hard.
then use this. I don't know whether you all have read recent books. I don't know how up to date, because I swear to God, these Luddites haven't seen a movie since the black and white Nosferatu.
No, I've seen modern day movies like John Wick, but not other ones.
You were looking for reasons to look cooler, Mason. That doesn't count. But what I'm saying is, if you come to us, here's a passcode. Share it among your friends. Have them identify themselves as Tom Riddle.
We are not those who shall not remain nameless.
No. Just have your compatriots say, I came from Tom Riddle. It's a character called the Half-Blood Prince from a series of books by some crazy lady in England. But it'll
Harry
let us
Potter?
know who you are. What?
The Half-Blood Prince.
Yeah, I thought it would work. It's a good password, right?
I mean, if anybody's read a book in the last few decades, but okay.
I don't think the Camarilla vampires have read a book in the last century. Jane Eyre would seem fucking modern to them.
I guess so.
That's
Very well.
They might know.
But that's why I say Tom Riddle, because Tom Riddle is the name of the character of the Half-Blood Prince. It's not on the cover of the book. You don't even learn the name until halfway through. See, it's sneaky.
Are you implying that anarchs can't read?
I'm implying that anarchs don't read.
Yeah, they're all like gangsters. I doubt they would read Harry Potter.
Yeah, good point.
They accuse me of being a traitor.
They accused me of being a traitor. So did the Camarilla. So...
Well, the Camarilla accuses everybody of being a traitor. But, Eric, just say Tom Riddle sent me, and we'll understand where the person came from and that you sent them.
Very well. This was a very fruitful meeting. I thank you all for your time, and I wish you all the best of luck this evening. Toinette, keys, please. I understand that you will probably take far too long saying goodbye. I will start the car now. She hands over the keys begrudgingly because it still is her baby. And he exits. Toinette waits until the door closes. Macy, don't hold that against me. But we kind of needed to move a little quickly. He's not wrong. It just as little as 3 weeks ago, 50 of our members were slaughtered by the hounds in Chicago.
50 at a clip. That's impressive. Yeah, let's not repeat that.
We are doing everything we can to not repeat that. Eric doesn't realize just how deeply we were affected by it. We lost most of our strong blood sorcerers in that exchange, and we are experiencing issues with growth. There have been several of our members disappearing since then, and they haven't been taken by the Scourge. They haven't been taken by the Hounds. They've left our organization. There's a new guy who popped up after those 50 were killed. He wants everybody to call him Forcipulus, and he's been recruiting, and everyone that sides with him grows in strength, but they lose a little bit more of themselves. It's like all that's left is the rage and the happiness, and you're not sure which passionate beast you're going to end up with. And so we're hoping to escape that and escape the Scourge. We're hoping that Asus, being a member of the Malkavian, that he would have accepted us, but instead he wants us to be slaves. He wants to be cannon fodders. He wants us to form brute squads that he can point and direct at everyone else. And we can't do that. Well, we could, but that didn't work out so well for us in Chicago.
He wants you to call him what exactly?
Master General.
Did you say his name is Aces?
Yes, Asus is.
He's a Malkavian?
Yeah, you didn't know.
Well, I guess that makes sense. It's just he was a little hot-headed. I assume Bruja.
And
Not all Bruja is hot-headed.
The incursion group from the Camarilla has a member that they call Aces.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
He's their new weapons guy, according to Cone.
Yeah, he's trying to take over the bazaar. Well, he's taken over the bazaar and made it a weapons depot. I was scouting him out when me and Mason first met.
But that means that your people are being sucked in by a tower person in Garrett. And
No.
the tower in Chicago is hunting you.
He wants to use us as a brute squad to offer us some semblance of safety to allow us to stay, but that doesn't work for us. We don't want to be used by anybody. We want to bend to our own whims and our own will. We don't want to be the front line, that bullet catchers that he wants to use us for, because he's hoping that we all die, much like half of us did in Chicago, and we can't let that happen.
Well, the selling point on that is spread the word that he's a Camarilla insurgent.
Everyone knows who he is, but safety is safety. What would you do to remain safe? How far would you be willing to go?
I guess I have a different reaction to that. Certainly not deal with a tower. The tower doesn't concern itself with other safety. You need to talk to those people, and you need to get Eric to talk to those people.
We are. This was his Hail Mary to get us another option, because we are between a rock and a hard place. And with that, she throws her arms around Mason. I know you don't like non-public displays of affection.
When did I say that?
And a few moments of overly public, very thorough checking of each other's tonsils and appendages and orifices later, and she leaves to join
Marcus walks away.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting.
This is amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry and I'm not sorry at the same time.
And as you all watch the thunder roar away, you're left with the realizations and the opportunity. A quick perusal of everyone's stated wishes, a quick perusal of the opportunities which lay ahead of having so many potential assistants and partners in crime. There's a very real way that Ben's plan could work, and everyone can obtain what they were seeking. It will require a concerted effort and a concerted push. But realistically, with the city, as small as it is, being as large as it is, dividing it into smaller domains under your purview, declaring praxis over your block and area, maintaining certain areas as Elysium, is considerably more feasible than it was 20 minutes before.
Okay, so Marcus at this point has called up on one of the screens the real estate sites for the areas of Gary, New Chicago, Liverpool, Lake Station, all of the areas surrounding where our businesses are. So along Central, up by the 90-65 interchange, and there's just dots everywhere. Kind Real Estate is at a point right now where there is a lot of available space of every flavor and size and description, from studio cottages to small apartment complexes all the way out to big ass houses. Nothing up to Mason's level, but nice places. And that's just displaying on one of the screens near where they're all talking. Okay, I think that went well. I think, just putting aside the last 2.5, 4 minutes between Mason and Toinette, other than that, everything went really well. But the one thing that I didn't hear is Ben's opinion.
I feel like this is a way forward. Taking the disenfranchised of another place, giving them a safe place to be. They will fight for their freedom just like we would fight for ours. My only apprehension with all of this is we could easily be overtaken by them if they outnumber us. How do we know that we continue to keep being the leaders of this? Or do we even want to be the leaders of this?
So you're saying that Eric and his brood outnumbering us the way they do could become its own problem?
Potentially, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least plan some sort of fail-safe. I want to say fail-safe because I know you're not supposed to look a gift horse in the mouth or whatever the hell that is, but sometimes you gotta get your head all up in there because otherwise it might not be a horse. You know, it might be a donkey painted to look like a horse. So
I want to go like.
that's my only caution.
Want to go like full Machiavellian. I bet Marcus should set up some sort of freaking Wi-Fi capable bombs. I could maybe put in through checkups.
Well, setting up a limited network in a limited space, it wouldn't be a problem.
We're not gonna blow them up.
Well, no, but not with bombs. I mean, I'm saving bombs for special situations. But mainly silk. But
we're not going to blow silk up, okay? Let's just drop that. We're not doing that.
But what I'm saying is,
oh, you in love now? Is that what?
No, we're not going to blow silk up. So let's just move on.
But what I'm suggesting, I could set up. In a limited space, as long as we're not talking about trying to cover the entire city. But I could set up eyes and ears fairly easily on key parts of Eric's little group. We know where they want to go. We would be the ones helping them go there. So setting up, making sure that they're not trying to stomp on us would be fairly easy.
Okay, let's pause here. Usually I like a good strike team, and I do like a good assault. But the Thin Bloods, calm down. Ben even said she almost killed one of them with a punch. Like,
yeah,
if they get out of hand, we'll deal with it.
I perceive them as a threat in numbers, and Ben's right. There's a lot of them. But
yeah, but it's all the zombie horde, but we're not going to worry about that. We can use them to buffer our numbers to keep them in check. We'll keep them in check because, let's be honest, they need us more than we need them. We can use them to get what we need, but they need us to survive. So then the odds of them trying to overrun us is pretty remote.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you, and I don't think that I need to do anything really crazy.
Who was in the city during the 90s? Who was
Not me.
during the 90s? The moment that
Not me.
The moment that Marcus mentioned zombie horde, the realities of those few weeks when Kindred were becoming mindless sub-whites in terms of how they operated. It was passed along through drugs, through dust, through what some people called ash. And before you knew it, entire swaths, entire clans that had once resided in the city for decades and centuries on end went mad. Their eyes glazed over, completely bloodshot red, with vitae leaking from all of their orifices as they took to the night streets, devouring everything in their path. Every person they came into contact with died and rose as shambling hordes. The city launched a multi-million-dollar cover-up, using all of the resources of Modius and Juggler combined to put them into their graves permanently. There are still portions of the Western Steel plant that are inaccessible because they had to, those that weren't able to be completely pulverized into absolute dust without it being inhaled are still interred in the smelting plant, which had been sealed, completely closed. It is a killing offense, or at least it was under Modius and Juggler, for anyone to go spelunking or urban exploring at the Western Steel plant.
Yeah, definitely when Mamela says zombies, Ben goes stock still because she survived through it.
Okay, so just to combine what Mamela's saying and what Ben's saying, they do need us. They need a verified presence within the city to be able to move to the city without getting themselves killed. But they outnumber any group short of the combined forces of the Anarchs or the combined forces of the Camarilla. I think hedging one way or the other is a good idea. I think we'll walk away from the whole bombing idea, but we should embrace the idea of keeping an eye on them. And we can do that with stuff I build, but also communicating with Mason and Ben. We have two of the best communicators in the city. So as long as we're telling them the relative truth and making sure that they're involved in what's going on, we don't have to worry long term. They have a deficit they're not going to overcome anywhere else. Any major city it sounds like the religious aspects of the tower are going to hunt them down out of fear, out of malice, out of, bored on a Tuesday. They're going to hunt them down. If we can give them a safe place, if we can give them cover, they're going to be on our side more than they're going to be against us. They're not really going to look to knock down the only thing that forms an umbrella. So I think with communication and a little careful surveillance, we don't have to worry about that aspect too much.
Okay, I agree. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, because you haven't had the chance to mention it yet, Marcus, is your visit.
At which point Marcus tries to fold himself into a small cube.
Oh, no, honey. Come here. Your visit, you need to talk about it.
Okay.
Because it's important.
I make sure I am at least 3 long paces away from Mamela and 2 paces from Ben.
And how many from Mason?
They're just like hiding behind me.
That may be the case. So I may have arranged a meeting with Cone when I knew you were all busy and had him over at the market, just me and him.
Surprise!
You're not dead, so that's a plus.
That's what Ben said.
Mason fights the urge to say kinky.
They succeed.
What's the difficulty?
So I met with Cone because I do have an obligation with him. And I wanted a small amount of time with him to figure out exactly what he's going for and what he is. Item 1, Regent is not what I thought it was, and y'all let me down by not correcting me. Regent is not a Camarilla term. It is a wizard term, and it means he's in charge of the wizards. The what do they call it? Tremere. And y'all just left me hanging. He was laughing at me. I was just saying, damn, that's low.
Well, I had a business partner to talk to as well.
You guys heard me say the word Regent about 4,000 times. Not a single one of you corrected me. Bastards. So what Cone was willing to tell me about himself. Number 1, he is the Regent, in theory, of Gary now. He used to be important in another, they call it a chantry, somewhere else, and he was forced out. And he moved to Gary to get back that level of power within the Tremere. Number 2, he is a member of the Vanguard. So Silk and the David guy and the crazy girl, whatever her name was, Cassandra, I think, or whatever. He's one of them, kind of. And he told me that the leader of the Vanguard is a kindred named Sharp. And what he let me figure out, and what he shared with me, now remember, this is him talking to me, so the whole kindred half-truth thing applies to all of this, is the Vanguard are sent as a group. Sharp is their leader. But each individual member of the Vanguard has their own priority. And the other thing is Vanguard is trying to take apart the power structures that exist here so they can step into those areas. The whole attacking and messing with the depot was the idea of breaking up Gary's black market so that one of their members could take over a part of what the depot was doing. So Silk has been stepping into the blood procurement. Aces is taking over the weapon procurement. David is information and disinformation, whatever else is happening. Cone was invited to be a member of the Vanguard because A, he's a wizard, which I guess they need, and B, he promised to make things try to go smoother, but each member of the Vanguard has his or her own priority. And the way he tells it, Sharp is a mercenary. He's a hardcore believer in the tower and a mercenary. So he's hired through whatever means by tower to come into a city and figure out whether the tower can take it over and whether it wants to be bothered with taking it over. David is kind of his strongman. Silk looks to be taking over the blood aspect of the depot, and Ace is the weapons part of the depot. So instead of going to the depot for blood, you'd go to Silk, probably Salacious. And to get a gun or a knife or an RPG, God knows what, you go to Aces, so on and so forth. So what they're doing is trying to undermine the power structure that existed now that Juggler and Modius are gone, and insert themselves into every little tiny corner of that. That's why we're having a problem dealing with them, in the fact that they're becoming the sources of things Kindred need inside Gary. So that's what Cone led me to believe. The project that Cone is having me work on, because Cone sees himself as a moderate. He liked the way Gary worked before and thinks Gary should maintain some part of that now. And the thing he's having me work on is part of that push, is to make a treaty of some kind. And he described a bunch of magical shit that I'm still wrapping my head around. But the book is supposed to instill that idea of peace in the people who live here. And I don't know how it is enforced, but it's a magic thing. He talked about incarnates. He talked about imbuing or invoking. I don't know. But somehow he adds power to the book, and the book becomes I
think I kind of have an idea how that could go, and that's not good.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think it's gonna make everyone just go kumbaya and dance around the campfire.
Well, he said that it wouldn't be 100%. He said that the treaty would be closer to what Gary was before, under Juggler and Modius. So it's the Anarchs and the Tower poking each other, and that would be fine, just like normal, but that overall it would allow for freedom of action. That's how he described it. He also went into depth about what Sharp is thinking. Sharp wants to drop the tower on the city of Gary like an anvil. And I don't know how much history you all have studied, or, well, in some of your cases, lived. There is nothing more punishing to the little guy than a new king. Nobody with power like the newly crowned.
And with the idea of a hammer and anvil falling on everyone's head, squishing them in between the two immovable forces and unstoppable objects, We will take a quick 10 minutes and we will be back here at exactly the turn of the hour. See you guys in 10 minutes. Message, and then we will launch back into where we are. Okay. Well,
that makes sense.
All right. Well, while Mamela settles his tech issues, with the various plans laid bare, this is the Associates' first, and hopefully first of many times of actually coming to an understanding as to where everyone's stance. There are, out of the 5 of the gathered associates, 3 calls for peace, for a semblance of the status quo, for a semblance of observing the reign. And then there are 2 to seize control and authority and lead so that your group, your space, your havens are unassailable. With the advent and arrival of Eric and Toinette and their potential resources, there still is the very fact of where everyone is in the city. You still have your 2 camps, your rabble and tower would be conquerors of the city. There still is Cone moving between both groups, loyal to both and neither, seeking to have an armistice, a forced peace, a praxis of armistice, if not actual full-on peace. And then, in the mix, is the real fact that no one knows when the other shoe will drop. If Gary is still recognized on the national stage and the world stage as a Camarilla city, word has not completely spread within the tower that the city is anything but a tower city. So those bound to the tower see the anarchs as rebels seeking to overthrow them, take what is ours, while those local to Gary understand that there was a recognizing of the authority of the tower, but also an understanding as to the actual true ramifications of the anarchs. It was both a Camarilla tower city as well as a rabble city.
And Marcus has one more little bomb to drop on the group.
And that bomb is?
Arthur.
With everyone's attention wrapped and thoughts circulating as to all of the many issues and potential fallout, how is it that Marcus is going to relay that information?
At this point, he's laid out everything he can about the Camaria's current planning as he understands it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. There he is. Marcus laid out what he knows about the Camarilla, about Cone's trying to play the middle against both sides, about Sharp being a mercenary, about Silk and Aces trying to take over avenues of the city in the name of the Camarilla, and maybe for themselves. He has one more info bomb to drop on everybody. On top of meeting with Cone in secret, knowing that you guys couldn't show up, I went to the Cauldron, and it was mainly just to break up what I was working on. I mean, this was not planned, so nobody throw anything at me. But I knew it was owned by Arthur, and I know Arthur's skills. And he kind of cornered me on the street outside of the Cauldron and asked me to build him something. And the thing he asked me to build is fairly obvious given what we know what Evelyn said. He asked for some very specific electronic parts that, I mean, they could have many uses, I won't lie. I can think of a whole 7 or 8 of them that wouldn't be a bomb, but I can think about 12 or 13 uses of them that would be a bomb. Don't yell at me. I haven't built them yet, so, I have about a week to get them put together. But
how about we not make a bomb?
Well, that was my thinking, and that's why I wanted to bring it up in the fact that I have 7 days to put this together. So I can stall Arthur, kind of. There are 2 problems. The first problem is that Arthur works directly for Evelyn. The other problem is that that Arthur is slightly crazy. So I wanted to bring that up to the group in the fact that these things are being made, which means Evelyn has made another play at some point, or Arthur has completely lost his mind, and we need to address that. I mean, the one thing we can't put a finger on right now is the Anarchs, because they're not playing on the same level as the Camarilla are. And I hate to say it, but the Camarilla are winning in a big way. And I don't think Evelyn's reaction to that is good. And we need to figure out what the Anarchs are doing. And I don't have any contacts. And right now, me and Mason are on the outs. So we need to figure out what they're planning and what their reactions are currently. And I won't lie that the idea of Arthur with what I'm building doesn't scare the crap out of me. So
okay, that sounds like a job for Ben.
Well, I mean,
he also said something about Cone not wanting you to build the box for Silk, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, damn it, the box. I've been ignoring that thing for 2 days now. I'm totally forgot about it. It seems like Silk is trying to build something, at least to Cone, and he said he's going to get back to me. But Tacone might unravel what he's building, or might unravel a lot more.
As long as it's not something called a lodestone, we're okay.
It's a lodestone.
Fuck.
And it's a big one.
I know. I have dealings with it.
The lodestone in question, she said, is described as being the size of a temple stone.
Yeah, it was. It was a temple stone from the first village. Fuck my life. I know roughly where it is, but I hope that no one would find it.
Well,
I gotta go, though. It looks like people are coming to lay siege to the depot, so we gotta go.
Oh, shit.
I agree on that. More pressing matters.
Holy crap. Okay,
You gotta go now.
okay. I definitely see that.
This doesn't feel like a trap to anybody else.
It feels
From Adam. He's my little cousin.
it
He wouldn't trap me.
but it feels like something big is happening.
I think your little cousin came to my clinic. Trying to text I just got, saying the same thing.
Yeah. Damn it.
Why is it always something at the depot?
Oh, son of a bitch.
I mean, it's basically
Yeah, we should burn that place to the ground.
it's like the giant rotting cow corpse that all us mages feed on.
Oh,
business
so
here.
the cops are going to be there? Yeah, Jessica said the cops are gonna making a move. Oh, great. Okay, fine, let's go. Duh, I'm gonna freaking regret this.
No, wait. Or if we go, are we gonna incriminate ourselves?
I already commit kind of illegal
Pretty
things
sure
all the time.
everyone
so-
here has committed illegal things.
Police scanner. Do you have a police scanner? Let's listen and see if that's the truth.
How about this? Marcus, do you think you can get the police to not go to the depot? Can you reroute them, send them somewhere else? Either way, I asked them to join me, but I have to go to the depot, unfortunately.
Marcus comes around and opens the barn doors so that the cars inside can get out and the cars outside have a clear path.
Question. I just got a text from Tonette. Is that something big is going down in Atina? That's the same place as the depot, I'm guessing, right?
You are correct.
I think pronounce Etna.
Thank you. Just mist of air in the room. I'm sorry. I love breaking the first roll. So we've got 3 people telling us to go to the depot, and 1 person to say stay away. Huh.
How about we go find out, but we stay back so that we can get away if we need to?
So let's not use my car.
Yeah, let's not.
Mine.
Agreed. Let's not.
Wait. Does anybody have is there a car that no one's seen us like in before that is associated with us?
Hold on, I can go to my shop and bring the minivan back.
Don't. Marcus sighs heavily and walks over to the covered car and rips the cover off. So it's a full body car cover. He pulls it off, revealing a 2010 Camaro, the 2010 limited edition Autobot Bumblebee Camaro in pristine condition.
I don't think
That's a lot to unpack right there.
this is going to be an inconspicuous car exactly.
Inconspicuous, no, but nobody's seen it.
Everyone will know it and recognize it again if they ever see it.
Mason's crying right now because he fell for it. Oh my god! Mason's just dying laughing right now, basically.
Well, I call shotgun and I'm not fitting in the back seats.
I can fit in the back seat. Did you hear someone fall out of their desk chair?
I hate you, Mason. I hate you in a special way.
This is why I have a 3 in manipulation. Oh.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack there, Mason. Yeah, let's talk about this later.
Well, I was curious. Anyways, how on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like extremely bright and 1 being not that bright at all, how bright is the yellow?
This is the original edition. This is the collector's edition Camaro. It had the Autobot symbols.
So it's like, that is fucking awesome. Out of character, but still.
And right now, Bumblebee, the Camaro, is sitting right next to Herbie the Love Bug VW Bug. So the picture is complete.
Next to an Audi R8.
So the Camaro as built for this edition was a 390 horsepower V8 monster engine. It is a muscle car from hell.
But
yeah, that's not gonna get us spotted.
It's gonna get us there, and nobody's gonna know we own it.
Unless we get out of the fucking car. Wait, did you purposely tint the windows then? Or is it still, or the windows not tinted?
It's stock. Window tinting on the surrounding windows are at a level 1. The windshield is clear. It's a 390 horsepower turbo fucking V8 Chevy engine. It's a nightmare car. If I hit another vehicle with this vehicle, unless that vehicle is a money transport truck, that other vehicle is going to die.
Does anybody hear the fucking the Transformers, the dun 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 dun?
So, watching them all figure this out, Ben just kind of shakes her head and runs towards the door, and halfway there shifts into her owl form and goes swooping out one of the windows.
Okay, you bastard. Get in the car. Mason, you don't get shotgun. You're in the back.
I didn't want to be in shotgun. Kind of wanted to be in like, okay, yeah, okay. Fine.
You're not in the trunk.
I love the fact my knees against my chin.
Well, as long as you don't mind sliding the seat back on whoever's behind you, they won't be in your chest. Exactly. Needless to say, the getting there, now that we have an order of operations, that the order will be alphabetical this week. And remember, inaction is an action. So if your target is to simply watch, then that is exactly what would be done, okay? Now, moving forward, as we make that 11-minute drive and roughly 15-minute flight time, you all arrive at the depot to realize that the police, the Gary police, as well as several Indiana State Police vehicles are lined around the depot, forming a circle of non-interference. They're sitting in their cars, their lights are on, but no sirens, no one's out with guns drawn. There isn't a media circus at play. Instead, from inside the remains of the church that was once the center of the factory grounds where the depot is, are sounds of gunfire and screams of clear battle. But it being as it's happening inside and the sounds are roughly muffled, you all know that whatever is happening through the areas that...
Okay. Marcus is going to pull up short by a block from the cordon.
Why not like 2 blocks just to make sure? Because this car isn't that inconspicuous.
It's pretty. I'm going to pull up definitely short and definitely going to use like a parking lot in the area. And I'm not speeding. I'm not doing anything crazy. I just pull in, stop, kill the lights, and wonder what everybody else is planning on doing about getting in there.
Is there like fire? Is there like extra fire than like extra smoke than normal? That over at the depot?
No. There are the ghostly eerie sounds of muffled gunfire. Every once in a while, you hear a but it's muffled by the stone edifice of the church and your distance. It is clear that whatever is happening in the underground areas of the depot.
Okay, guys. I don't know how you're going to get in there, but I'm getting in there my way. And I'm going to go unseen.
I mean...
Well, you need them to all not be looking at you.
Oh, no. I wait for that tactical moment.
Really just want Mason to just like reach into his pocket, just have like an FBI thing. But no. If he was an actor, I'd be like, yes. No. I don't know how Mason's gonna get in there. Do we know like a secret entrance we can go into?
You mean besides the one that you all found through to leading you in that direction? No, not really. Not besides that one.
Is that one surrounded by weary eyes?
It's inside the building. The police are on the outside holding a cordon, holding their circle of non-interference. In fact, to not overly labor the fact that they have the building surrounded and are not rushing into what is clearly a combat situation, they're literally there to make sure that...
Meaning the Camarillo's involved.
That is a very good assumption. That's a very good hypothesis. I think that's a working hypothesis.
As everyone unloads from the car, Marcus is going to step away from them. As soon as he's out of direct line of sight of everybody, poof.
Joshua's trying to work on a little spear for his right hand with a little piercing weapon.
Marmella's gonna use stealth and try to slip by.
And Mason's just like, how am I gonna get by these guys?
Hey, you're the face. You're on your own, brother.
Yeah.
I'm not just
I mean, I could probably talk my way through the cops, but then they'd have an eyewitness of me being seen at the scene.
I'm gonna walk right towards the secret entrance once I get a little weapon readied.
Marcus is going to avoid all of the secret entrance and craziness bullshit, and he's going to just cut through and get across to the church, because he knows that Ben is going to be able to land right on top of the church if she wants. So he wants to be there to back her up.
Okay. And Ben?
She is going to do a couple lazy loops above the church, looking for open skylights or somewhere to dart in without being seen and land to see what's going on.
Okay. Well, landing on the roof, swooping through the mostly open ceiling of the former church is not an issue at all. So Ben lands on the upper rafters of the former roof of the church, and the muffled sounds of gunfire are still ringing out every few moments. There are the occasional screams of pain that somehow manage to echo up from the lower recesses of the building. And while Ben is observing, listening to the sounds of clearly individuals being put down or otherwise harmed, Mason, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and stealth plus obfuscate? Joshua, moving boldly forth and just moving into the church, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and athletics? Mamela, using stealth is literally your dexterity plus stealth to navigate quickly out of someone's sight line to make your way in. Mason, while you stand at the edge of the cordon, deciding how it is you're going to cross it, what is it that you, if anything, are you going to do?
I'm going to just try and So do the cops have the entire depot surrounded, or just like the front entrance of the church?
Taking a quick look at the rough map that was placed up, you'll see that there's a front entrance that has 3 or 4 cars there. The back entrance is, there's a lot of land and buried rubble, and it's a maze of deconstructed building. But on the far back side, roughly a block away from the main entrance, there are like another 4 or 5 cars. There's 2 cars to the east of the block that this building is on, and there's like another 3 to the west. They're literally just keeping people away, and the sounds of combat and suffering are echoing from beneath.
I kind of want to just have Mason go up to the cops and ask what's going on. Just like a concerned citizen, act like a concerned citizen and whatnot.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, Mason. Anything?
You're breaking up a little bit. What was that you wrote?
I am. Pull a Sherlock Holmes and say he's a private detective and get through. Or do they have like a special badge?
Do they have a what?
Well, Mason probably doesn't really know that. I'm gonna try and wordplay my way through the cops, because that's Mason's speciality.
Okay. All right. So that being the case means you're just going to ask them what's going on. There's no role really necessary. As you walk up to the police car, only as you actually get close to the police car do they decide to pay any real interest. The passenger stepping out, adjusting his jacket and making sure his hat's on straight and neat and presentable. And he says, "Hey, they're doing construction, buddy. You want to keep it moving. You really shouldn't be over here."
Oh, construction? Well, I was kind of hearing like screams though, and so what sounded like gunfire.
Yeah, don't worry about that. That's just the construction. They're doing something on the ground. Could be some swamp gases or weather balloon. You want to keep it moving.
But wait, if it's like construction, then why are the cops here?
Make sure people like you, the good upstanding citizens of Lake Station, stay safe.
Okay.
And while that's happening, let's see their awareness on regards to stealth. All right, so Joshua, as you boldly strode into the building, normally you would have been seen, but luckily for you in this particular situation, with Mason attracting their attention and catching their view, you make it inside as one of them is like, "Well, fuck it, it's not my business now." Yeah, you should, as a good upstanding citizen of the Lake Station, you should keep it moving. While in the rafters, then you see first Mamela, then you see Joshua moving into the building and slipping into the egress that Silk had shown Joshua and Marcus and Mason several weeks before, and they slip into underground. So with the moment back to Ben, what is it that Ben is doing?
She's gonna get lower to the ground. Okay, so about where is the gunfire coming from? Is it obvious that it's coming from underground, or is it like spread out throughout the building?
It is spread out throughout the building underground. The muffled gunfire and the screams of pain are buffered and muffled by the building.
Because it doesn't seem all that smart to go getting into tiny tunnels with gunfire. Just saying. War experience tells me that's not a good idea. But gonna land and turn herself back into two-legger and just kind of keep an eye near the top of the hole.
Okay. And Joshua and Mamela, you're basically moving on the same proximity to one another because you guys can see each other and react to one another. Having taken the stairs down and into the lower recesses, Joshua, you've been here before, while Mamela, you have not. There is a more than arousing scent of blood, and mixed with the trinitrotoluene and mineral oil and the residue, the remnants of diesel fuel, it smells intoxicatingly noxious. There's the tinge of blood behind everything, the pink mist in the air, the sounds of pain as people are being put down. And with the assault having taken out most of the lighting and the forces here using their muzzle flare as lighting sources, it is clear that you all are in the midst of an assault designed to make sure that this place is non-operational. You hear people crying and screaming and issuing their last breath as more gunshots go off, more fire is exchanged. Marcus, being as you are out of sight and out of mental sight, you are able to hear and see this happening. The pins where the humans have been captured and were being restocked have been put to the bullet, literally as if someone stood in front of it and emptied the clip into the products that the humans who were inside were. Someone's attempting to ruin the depot for well and for good. And part of that ruining is putting down their security team. Part of that ruining is ensuring that there is evidence as to just how wrong the depot was. It is very easy to put together that once they complete this assault, then the police will be allowed in, and then those people connected with the depot will most likely be prosecuted to the full extreme measures of the law.
I'm going to look for Adam and his lieutenants. I'm going to skulk around inside the area and track the bullet exchanges back to their sources. I'm looking for Adam more than anyone else because he's my one contact that I know by name and face very well.
Okay. Joshua, what is it that you and Mamela are doing?
Well, imagine we stick to the walls and try to avoid getting caught by the police officers. Try to get deeper and find out what's the source of all this.
Well, that's easy enough. The various teams who are moving through the place shooting and attempting to put down as many bodies as possible. The plan is an easy one to understand. Those forces who are assaulting the depot are attempting to make it as messy and disgustingly obvious as possible. They're trying to make it so that even if they are routed, there will be enough carnage that the police will have no opportunity except for be forced to act on their responsibilities and bring those responsible to justice. It is a clear-cut plan aimed at making the place as least profitable as possible to ensure that the depot is put down. In the process of doing so, the process of executing that plan, the kidnapped, the enslaved, the humans who were brought here for their very potent blood, their very valuable blood, and their other humors are being destroyed, much like you would if you were raiding a rival cattle baron. The cattle would be put down. It will be made part of the cost that needed to be paid. There is no end to the suffering that this place is inspiring and instilling. And most of those people in those cages and those pits are in fact innocent. And in the midst of this, Mamela, you can hear Adam in full voice, "Do not give them quarter!" And gunfire. "Over there!" And fire. And fire.
Alright, which direction is he? Is his voice coming? I'm going to head the other way and start doing what I do.
So you hear So you hear his voice and you're going to move away from him, giving
Actually,
whoever's
you know what?
near
I'm
him
going to work my way
opportunity.
towards him. Actually, I'm going to work my way towards him. That's it. I'm going to work my way towards him.
So you and Marcus are moving in that direction. Joshua, with that, where are you? Are you moving with Mamela, or are you attempting to just leave? Let the humans die, after all, you know.
I move with Mamela. I'm not gonna tolerate this sort of freaking barbarity or barbarism, whatever. I'm talking.
No, it both work. There is a significant callous disregard to life, business, pursuits of happiness, and no semblance in, recognition of decor. Now, while outside, Mason, when you're speaking with the cops and you're hearing all of the exchanges, what is it that you're doing? You're standing there and keep talking with the police officer?
Mason just thanks the cop and then walks off back towards the where he came from.
Okay. Not your circus, not your monkeys. Josh.
Well, yeah, I was playing the part of whatchamacall because Mason, I guess, realized that he'd be a better distraction to get them in than him getting himself in, right?
Okay. And Joshua, Mamela, and Marcus, moving towards Adam's voice, would you all be so kind as to go ahead and roll your... If you are attempting to intercede, you'll be rolling with your strength and brawl or your strength and melee to intercede and end the most close attacks near and around Adam and his forces as they are attempting to rout the assaulting force. Ben, listening to the carnage down below, are you going to remain listening and watching the stairwell, or are you going to leave and find where Mason is?
Wait, actually, I just realized something.
Mm-hmm.
Mason will start heading back towards the way he did, but then he's going to try and loop around the depot and go to where the other cops are, and then walk up to the cops and try and say, "Hey, sorry, I'm late. I'm part of the construction team," and see if that will work to get me in.
Okay. Go ahead and roll charisma and persuasion, or charisma and subterfuge, whichever is higher. And while that's happening, Ben, are you still keeping watch and keeping an ear out, or are you doing something else?
It gets to her. She can't just sit and listen to it anymore. So knowing that she has dark vision with the owl sense, she's gonna go downstairs and try to maybe get some of the humans out.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll wits plus larceny at this point?
Out of character, but would it be okay if I blood surged a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Strength and brawl, and strength and what was the other one?
Melee.
Alright, strength and brawl.
Fucking cheap.
Am I adding Eyes of the Beast to that?
No. You're
Why do I keep rolling messy criticals?
It was determined for Mason.
That was
a beast.
Past few games, I swear.
Okay, so Marcus is not trying to look to engage. He's trying to get to Adam while he's still invisible and see what's actually going on.
The simple definition of what's going on, you all are entering into a war. It is a war for the soul of the depot to either assist or not assist Adam and his men in routing the assault that is putting down their stock. The humans that are here, that have been brought here to be stockpiled for the auction, for their blood, for their viscera, for their parts and sundry items of their being, or to bear witness to Adam and his men being slaughtered and the depot being shut down by the assault team.
Okay, because there's absolutely no chance that Marcus is going to try to put his strength or fighting ability up against anyone, mano a mano. There just isn't, because he doesn't have either one in any level. He has 0 brawl, 0 melee, and low strength. He's not going to go toe-to-toe with somebody for any fucking reason, because it's not going to avail himself to any advantage other than the fact that he's invisible.
Well, you know what Dr. Seuss said, a person's a person no matter how small, and a sneak attack to snatch someone's soul or carotid artery out still works just as well.
Yeah, but he also has a gun. And his composure and firearms is far in advance of any of those other skills. So if there's a gun battle going on, there's a side A and a side B, and side B, not being Adam's group, is in cover trying to shoot at Adam's group. He's going to sneak up behind the guy who is farthest away from the firefight, trying to shoot a gun, and he's going to shoot him in the back of the head. There is no chance he's going to try brass knuckles or a silent takedown. He's just going to shoot the guy.
Okay. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and firearms, because you won't have time to aim, or there's the chaos of the scene of you all being fired and tackled is beyond.
Okay, so I'm going to sneak up behind the farthest guy from the firefight and put a bullet in him.
All right, make it happen.
God damn it.
All right.
Wait, it was my turn? Sorry.
Hey folks, sorry about that. I lost all internet temporarily. I'm not sure. Well, I'm hoping it's on temporarily. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. That's a little muffled though.
Alright, sorry about that. Technical difficulties being what they are. Quick second here, let me open up the side roll and see where we are. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Not watching that right now.
Nobody, just in case you didn't know, your microphone went way down.
Yeah, my headphones are considerably left on the phone. Improve the quality.
Alright, let's try this right now. Alright, so what is the break line? The break line is 2. And taking a quick look here, Marcus, you sneak up behind the guy, almost completely invisible. A shot rings out, tearing through the space behind him as you let off your shot. Unfortunately, it goes slightly askew and slightly wide, striking one of Adam's men in the chin. Then, as you find in the cavernous battle space and begin tearing at the cages where the humans are held, and that's literally what they are. They're literally fish in a bucket, in a barrel. The shots ring out as 2 of the assault team break off to try to target that particular one because they think you're one of the escaped humans. And while they want the depot to go down, they don't want to go down as criminals themselves, and they began firing in your general direction. Unfortunately, they have every intention of dropping everyone in that area, including you, without realizing that you are not one of the escaped humans. While that's happening to the southwest of where the central battle is happening and where Marcus's shot just went slightly wide, Mamela, you are skilled at what you do, but between the cover of darkness and the gunfire ringing out, you don't manage to drop anyone, but you do manage to shield Adam from the strafing attack that is near and around him. Joshua, something in you and Mason's mind is triggered. This is hell on earth, and yet somehow it is very welcoming to who and what you are. In the fracas, in the melee, in the scrum, you all managed to down several enemies, either through sheer luck or just the fact that this is the first instance of your forever.
I think you meant to say Marcus or
Mason
or Mel. Yeah.
Over the course of the fairly extended incidents, it will go down in history as an incident of very horrendously bad things that have already happened and will continue to happen as long as these forces are given the opportunity to plan and enact their dastardly actions against each other. You all managed to keep Adam from being one of the victims. You all managed to keep roughly 45% of the human stock from being dropped, freeing them eventually into the night. And just as you all dropped the last active combatant who has not fled, you now hear sirens in the distance as the few honest cops in Gary, the few honest cops who have not been put on someone's payroll, close on the depot. It is very penultimately important that you all make it away, that Adam escapes, that with the bodies that are there, that they're tied to someone or something else, and with that worry in the air sitting over everyone like a pall, we will draw to a close before technical difficulties make sure that I can't even get on my phone. I want to thank you all for a lovely session, and I will see you either in Play by Post over the next few days or at our next session. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, boss.